Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Prodigy from Kilo 23. What do an Echo 1 MP5 SD5 and a D-Boys M4S system have in stock? They both have something called a Hulkfet in them. Now Hulkfet is a new Mosfet on the market. It's made by PNW Air Dynamics. They're up here in the Pacific Northwest, so PNW, and they make Mosfets. Now their big entry into the airsoft world are the Hulkfet. This basically is a solid, inexpensive Mosfet. I really like it. I got a bunch of these to test out. I installed them in a couple guns, and I'm very satisfied with them. Been testing them a lot, and they're amazing. They're really good quality, and I can't complain in the slightest. Now, let me go ahead and play the intro here. Now, I did get several versions of the Hulkfet. There are basically two versions and a third that kind of goes along with one of the first two. There are two main versions, one with a single gate wire and one with two gate wires. They're slightly different install, but not terribly different. I'm going to go over install on these on a separate second video after this, so this one doesn't get too long and bulk down with techno talk. The third is simply a drop-in unit. It came with a single gate wire, so nothing too special. Like I said, most of them are single or two gate wire, a little bit different install. Now we can sit down on the tech table and talk about the PNW Air Dynamics Hulkfet. The big plus for me is that these do come in static shielded bags, so a little bit of a plus for there, some protection for your Mosfet. I can imagine the first thing you're going to look at is the little instruction sheet these come with. This probably will vary depending on which version you got. I'm just going to go over first the drop-in unit, and then I'll check out one of the solder-in units in just a second. So this really just says open up your gun, do the basic stuff you would the drop-in and install it. Really not that complicated at all. Your drop-in unit here, this one has a version 2 trigger switch soldered to it. And this is using a single gate design. So you can see the one purple wire here is your gate wire. It's a very thin gauge. And you've got a little bit thicker gauge silver coated wire that's going to your Mosfet. Now your negative wire is your green wire, of course. It's going to the bottom of the T on the T connector here. That goes straight to your motor. Now you've got two white wires with your positive cables, one going to your motor with a connector here, other going to your Mosfet and to your battery here. This is our Mosfet right here. As you can see, it is waterproofed. It is all sealed at both ends here. As I said just a minute ago, is a single gate wire design. And the connector here we can see is also waterproofed. It's all sealed up with the proper heat shrink here, so no water is going to get in there. The soldering on your trigger switch is also reasonably good. Everything's tinned, it's soldered on well. Now this solder-in unit is going to be a little bit different. Quite a bit of work you end up needing to do yourself. I'm going to just drop everything out here and we'll kind of go over everything it comes with here. Instructions are a little bit different. It does talk about how long each of the wire lengths is, so it is stated very clearly. And it does talk a little bit about how to install this as far as soldering and everything goes. So this one is a little bit different. It does have two gate wires. You can see two purple wires going to the Mosfet here. I'll show you a little more closely in a second. And then of course, basic install instructions on the back. Now this Mosfet, because it has two gate wires, is just a little bit wider than the single gate wire, but not by much. You do get plenty of wiring here to connect it to your motor pins, your connector, and whatever else is necessary to solder on. A few of the ends have already been stripped. Looks like two of them so far, one on the gate and one on the battery connector here. As stated earlier, it is silver coated wire, so it is really nice stuff. It is 16 gauge, so it's definitely a plus. Everything you need to install your Mosfet is included. A Dean's connector here, 3 motor connectors. You really only need 2, but a third is just in case you mess it up for some reason and have to redo it. 4 green pieces of heat shrink and 4 white. You're only going to need 2 of each really, so everything else is redundant and kind of nice to have just in case. And finally, you do get this clear piece of heat shrink. This is to make your connector waterproof. So this will go up over it. It is a little tight to get on, so I'm not going to do it on camera here right now. I'll do that in the install video, but you will basically heat that up around the connector and it will seal to it. Now, like I did touch on in the close-up of the Mosfet, these are waterproof. So they are sealed off, and you do get the heat shrink to waterproof the connector as well. So in theory, most, if not all of this, should be waterproof, or at least water protected. Now, the Hulkfets look fantastic. They're well made. They are 30-34 fets, so they're pretty basic. They don't have any programming, so they're not active braking, they're not 3-round burst or anything like that. They're designed to protect your trigger contacts, which is the main point of a Mosfet is. You're pulling the trigger, you're basically bridging a gap between two metal pieces with a third metal piece, and over time those will wear down, especially if you're running high voltage batteries, 11-1 LiPo, high powered springs, a lot of torque motor pulling power, anything like that. It's going to burn your trigger contacts. So having a Mosfet in there is going to save your trigger contacts. These are great. They don't heat up, they're solid, they're well made, and they're made of good materials. Now, a couple of things to know about the Hulkfet. You can get them with 3 different connectors: Dean's, Mini Tamiya, and XT60s. So most people are going to use either Tamiya or Dean's. The XT60s I don't see as commonly, but people do use them still. These do come with a 1-year warranty, so as long as you have a professional, like someone knows they're doing, a local tech, or a store install them, and they're installed correctly, you're good. And you have to run less than a 12.6 volt battery on these. If you run a 12.6 volt or higher, that does void the 1-year warranty. So 11.1 volt, 7.4 volt, you're just fine. Most people, I figured, they're buying these to run 11.1 volts. That's what most people are going to do. That's what I'm going to do most of the time. Additionally, PNW Air Dynamics can make some customizations to this. If you really want, they can do 20 feet of wiring, which is ridiculous. But of course it's going to cost you a little extra. Keep an eye out in the near future for an install video on this. I'm going to show you guys how to install a Hulkfet in your gun. I'll be showing you how to install the 2-gate wire, but I'm also going to touch on how to install a single gate wire as well. And thanks for watching, guys. Take care.